Race number 5 of the 2021 AST Voltson Super Truck season takes place at a venue that has never hosted the series before. We are in Piqua, Ohio, at the Piqua Fairgrounds for a 50-lap race around this .44-mile short track. This venue has been hosting the FARC Truck Series on a regular basis for many years now, but with the demise of that division, the Super Trucks picked up its race date. So with that in mind, there are a few drivers and teams in the field here today who have competed here before in pickup trucks, and as a matter of fact, one of them will be leading the field to the green flag. The pole position went to Alex DeFranco in truck number 94, the third consecutive pole for the Midwest Motors team. Him and Brian Kelly are going to lead the field to the green flag and into turn number 1, as Kelly, with a great qualifying effort of his own, looks to undo the damage done at the start of his season, and getting a good run through the corner, but DeFranco charges back down low, cleaning out the 6 truck just a little bit on corner exit, and taking the lead officially through turn number 3. Juan Cortez, DeFranco's teammate, tries to follow him through into second place. Right behind them, though, you may have noticed on the start that there was 4 wide between drivers right behind them, and contact between the two in the middle. Andy Piper and Caitlin Holt got together, but nothing worse comes of that, as these drivers using every inch of racetrack available to them. This race is not particularly long, and everybody wants to get going right away, including the drivers who started up in the top 10. Juan Cortez makes a run for second place now on Brian Kelly, trying to make it a 1-2 for Midwest Motors at the front, and it looks like he's not going to have that hard of a time at doing so as he clears Kelly for the spot. Midwest Motors is one of the 2 teams that was in the most recent FARC Truck Series race here, as I mentioned in the pre-race. One of the other teams that was in that event is Griffith Motorsports. Alex Phillips was behind the wheel that day, but you can see Danny Richards Jr. is right behind the leaders here in 4th. The Nelson Ledges winner, however, is facing some challenges from Legend Hart and Amberly Weiss, as the 3 of them now go 3 wide for that position, and Hart breaks loose off turn 2, getting on the power just a little too early, and now he's going to brake a little too late for turn 3, and just about runs over the 6 truck of Brian Kelly. A lot of close quarters racing action here at Piqua Fairgrounds in the early stages. This track very conducive to side-by-side racing as Amberly Weiss looks for another move through the middle of 3 wide. She's trying everything she can to get by the 77 and the 6 truck, and she's almost willing to wreck Legend Hart off turn 2 to do it. Hart gets turned down low, but luckily saves that truck, and not giving Weiss a whole lot of room through turns 3 and 4 that time. These drivers all pushing very hard, but they've managed to get away with it thus far, and are providing some great action for the spectators to enjoy here at the track. Predictably, however, all of this hard racing has allowed the leader to skip away from the rest of the field unchecked, as Alex DeFranco has opened up a very sizable lead for how early on in the race we are. DeFranco crashed out of the 2019 FARC Trucks race here in rather spectacular fashion too, but he is making great use of the experience that he gained from that weekend by pulling away from all of his competition, putting Dale Clow a lap down now. Clow and his teammate Papadopoulos were also in that 2019 race. After a poor run in qualifying, Danny Vigo has steadily been working his way up the field, and is now going in the middle of a 3-wide battle between both of the legendary motorsports trucks. As you can see, Vigo is carrying some new sponsorship decals on his truck this week. Milo has signed on to sponsor his family-run team for the rest of the season, in a deal that was made very shortly before this race here today. Vigo has been making a limited budget go a very long ways this season with all the speed that he's shown, and without having to worry about that so much anymore, he will hopefully be able to better focus on driving. This yellow number 19 Lennard belongs to a team and driver who are making their first starts in the Voltson Super Trucks today. This is Silas White, the Wisconsin short track star, whose name you may recognize from the FARC Low Dollar series. Him and his team, Dynasty Motorsports, have contested a few races per season for the past several years now in that series, and today they are beginning their tenure in the Super Trucks, intending to run the remaining races on the calendar this season, but there's an incident down the track just in front of him. It looks like Wilson Timothy's gotten into a bit of trouble. Looking at the 61 truck now, who was running in the midfield and not off to a good start, and he's going to push up into Danella Jacobson off of turn 2 and turn himself sideways. Jacobson impressively manages to save that truck and doesn't lose any ground, but Timothy, on the other hand, is going to lose quite a bit of track position. Timothy is the championship points leader in the Voltson Super Trucks, but again has not been running particularly well so far after qualifying 12th. Jason Miller, Timothy's points rival, the driver second of the standings, is battling side by side with him now, so Miller not having a great day either, nor is Andy Piper, having fallen towards the back after starting up front, not backing up his Nelson Ledges run the way I think he wanted to. Piper's teammate Alex Robbins is going to crash off turn 2, drifting wide and into the outside wall. At about the worst possible point that he could have, he hit the access road opening in the outside wall and ricocheted into the path of Brianna Prinzhorn, wiping her out and taking her completely by surprise. That crash is going to take Robbins out of the race. He was not running particularly well and struggling to keep up with the back of the pack. He wasn't far off being lapped at this point, riding on board truck number 26 as it drifts wide and smashes into that opening at the backstretch. Prinzhorn, however, will continue on, albeit one lap down, lining up on the inside for the restart with Dale Clow and Morgan Christian, as Alex DeFranco attempts to get away on the restart and reopen up the margin that he lost due to that yellow flag. Amberly Weiss moved past Juan Cortez before that yellow had come out to move herself into second place, and running in fourth is Darren Gale. Making only his third start of the year, he crashed out of the race at Nelson Ledges last week, but of course scored a surprise top 5 at MIS and is trying to repeat that feat here today. Right behind Gale in 5th now is Danny Vigo, who continues to work his way up through the field, up into the top 5 now and into 4th as he sweeps around the inside of Gale, Gale having been stuck behind Morgan Christian for a moment, and Gale Zisani is hardly the only truck that's going to get held up by Christian, the 49 truck running even more slowly than he was at Toledo, and him jamming up the entire outside lane is going to allow Jason Miller and Silas White to move themselves all the way up into the top 10, giving themselves the opportunity to move forward after a slow start to the race, and everybody else still swarming to get around Christian's truck, and contact on the back straightaway, and nearly another crash as Christian got turned across the front of Tiffany Rogers, and now Wilson Timothy looking to go 4 wide through the middle, not wanting to wait around any longer, and there's a crash behind them all that's appears to be unrelated to this jam up that's going to bring out another yellow. Taking a look at what happened here, it looks like Legend Hart, trying to make up some of the ground that he has lost since his strong start to the race, tries a little too hard and runs over Flip Papadopoulos, sending him spinning up the track in turn 4 and right into the path of Max Resner. That's going to take truck number 80 out of the race, but Papadopoulos will continue on. DeFranco leads over Weiss once more to the restart, with Weiss trying to make sure that DeFranco doesn't get away from her this time, but Danny Vigo has moved himself into 3rd now, having passed Juan Cortez right before that last caution came out, and he may not be done there either, continuing his march towards the front and closing in now on Weiss for 2nd. Matt Jacobs clears Cortez now to put themselves into the 4th spot. Jacobs having come on strong out of seemingly nowhere, this 47 truck has been running rather anonymously in the midfield all day, but is making its charge now towards the end of the race. Danny Vigo goes for the 2nd spot with a move to the inside of Amberly Weiss into turn number 3, but Weiss powers back on the high lane and uses the grip of that concrete groove around the outside of the racetrack to retain that spot. These split grooves here at Piqua with the asphalt on the inside and the concrete on the outside is part of what makes the racing here so exciting to watch, but Vigo's not deterred, coming back down low for another move, and this time he makes it work and moves himself into 2nd place, and only right behind race leader Alex DeFranco. Despite this hard racing for 2nd behind him, DeFranco has not been able to open up much of a lead over these 2 drivers, and Vigo is now closing in fast. We are under 10 laps to go here now, and DeFranco runs wide and into the wall off turn number 2. He at least avoids the access road opening, but that's still a critical mistake from Alex DeFranco, and it's going to give Danny Vigo a golden opportunity to go for the lead. DeFranco fighting back though on the high lane and trying not to lose the lead of the race that he has held on to since the first lap, but it's not going to work as Danny Vigo takes over the top spot. Weiss now looking for a way on by DeFranco, running all over the back bumper of the 94 truck, but DeFranco's probably not happy that he lost the lead of the race in the manner in which he did, and is fighting hard to hold on to that 2nd place, blocking Weiss to the inside into turn number 3, driving it in low to make sure that Weiss can't go any lower. It's working too, as Weiss has not been able to get her way around DeFranco's truck, but now Matt Jacobs has entered the picture. The 47 truck has been turning some of the fastest laps on the track, only getting faster as this run goes on and we approach the finish. Jacobs has already won an AST pickup truck race in the state of Ohio this year when they won the race at 7077 Speedway for the National Dirt Trucks. Here they go for 2nd place to the inside of DeFranco now into turn 3, but DeFranco charging back with a big run off the corner and pulling down low to cover into turn 1 this time around, He's not going to give Matt Jacobs a second chance to go down there and make that move again. DeFranco driving that truck for everything it's worth and playing defense extremely well. But up ahead, it's Danny Vigo who holds the lead and has been slowly pulling away from the three trucks behind him, coming around to take the white flag and begin the final lap of the race. We've documented before how many years it took Vigo to build his team up to the point where it was capable of winning a race. They finally achieved that earlier this season at MIS, and today they're going to do one better because they are going to win twice. Rounding the final corner, Danny Vigo takes the checkered flag and wins at Piqua Fairgrounds, and roughs up Dale Clow a bit on the cooldown lap. I don't know what that was about or if that was even intentional, and Clow crashes all by himself while trying to complete his final lap. I have no idea what any of that was about, but Clow would make it back around to finish the race, and Vigo becomes your first repeat winner of the 2021 season, proving to his new sponsor that they made the right choice in signing on with his team. Alex DeFranco brings the car home for the best finish of his Super Trucks career in a close second place after leading for most of the race from the pole. Matt Jacobs scores the first podium of their career after a late race charge to the front. Amberly Weiss finishes in fourth, that's the first top 5 finish of her season, and Darren Gale scores the second fifth place finish of his career in only his third start. Wilson Timothy finishes in sixth yet again. Apart from his victory at Toledo, sixth is the only place in which Timothy has been ranked at the end of the race in every event this year. Jason Miller finishes right behind Timothy in seventh, with Danny Richards Jr. following up his Nelson Ledges victory with an 8th place run here today. Caitlin Holt finally finishes somewhere other than 4th. It's a 9th place result for her, as she scores the 5th top 10 in her 5th start. Holt, Miller, and Timothy are the only 3 drivers remaining who have scored top 10s in every race so far this year, and Danella Jacobson ensures that both of the Team Michigan trucks finish today's race in the top 10.